Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Live 605. There may be some confusion. It's not 605. In fact, it's Dirty 3:30 here in New South Wales, Australia. Welcome wherever you may be. If you're watching us through Facebook, through the Facebook community, through our business page, the Stray Whisker business page, welcome. Of course, we're on YouTube as well, so through Shave the Man and through the Stray Whisker TV channel. We're syndicated everywhere now. It's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible. Firstly, my apologies that I don't know whether I should be offering an apology, actually. We're a little earlier than usual because we are still in lockdown. In fact, we're going to extend the lockdown here in New South Wales because we enjoy extending things beyond what is expected. So we're in a lockdown, which means this week and next week, it'll be a live 3:30. But I'm not going to do a graphic for that. We'll just leave it at live 605. And I'm sure when we return from this enforced lockdown that we shall return to the 605 format again. Anyway, speaking of formats, we're going to run an interesting show, what I think is an interesting show this afternoon. And I welcome your comments. If you are new, please put new below. That way I'll know. Look, it's not a vanity metric. Okay, some people said, is it a vanity metric? It's hardly a vanity metric when 5 people are watching. No, I shouldn't say that. Thank you very much. Actually, there are more than 5 people watching now these days, which is really, really good. It's refreshing to see and to hear. Hi, Will from Colorado. Beautiful Colorado. I love Colorado. Love it. Love it. Nice to see you on the live, sir. Good afternoon. Yes, hope your day has been good. Yes, been okay. Look, it's been pretty good. Still coming in to fulfill orders, so online is still continuing. But it's just that the face-to-face stuff is, not going to happen. First time live, shaving with peg leg. Have I seen peg leg before? I don't know. Anyway, welcome to the live. This is a double shot espresso. I'm having doubles these days. Look, this situation could turn a man to drink, and my poison happens to be a caffeinated one. This is a double espresso, no milk, no nothing, just coffee and moi. So excuse me while I have a sip. It is in fact my performance-enhancing drug of choice. It does help. 11:30 p.m. Now that is a rather more civilised hour. I mean, normally when we go to air at 6:05 here in Australia, it's some ungodly hour. There, I believe, is about 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. or whatever the case may be. So I'm sorry if you've had to get up and, I don't know if anyone gets up in the middle of the night to watch this, or if you're up anyway. But if you are, I thank you. Thank you to all the people on YouTube as well. And I also thank people that are sending DMs. A lot of people that send messages that don't want to contribute live on the show, but that want to have a thing or two to say. They make some suggestions. 1:35 a.m. here. Yeah, very good. Some of them make suggestions, and others are make less than savoury suggestions. They sort of tell me what to do with myself. No, I shouldn't say that. Look, it's been largely, it's been quite a great little activity that we've had going here, and I'm really appreciative of that. Thank you, Will. I really appreciate that. Looking good, Matt. Nice, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, look, I'm wearing sweatpants from the waist down. You can't see that, and also UGG boots, the original UGG boots. So today we're going to talk about a number of things. There'll be a few things. Michael, hello, Michael. My private Idaho. Yes, 23:35 here in Idaho. Thanks for joining us, Michael. Michael is a great wet shaving enthusiast and quite a contributor across all the groups. You may have seen him appear in these groups, to which we are most appreciative. Look, today I want to talk about a couple of things. There's, and you may have seen that in the thumbnail that was so diligently and meticulously prepared, and that is, look at choice, the choices that we make, not only as consumers, but in sort of our day-to-day life, and what that means and how that impacts us, and in fact, how it impacts our well-being. This is something that sort of goes, it sort of goes under the radar, and we don't really talk about this much. But in many ways, choice can lead to a less than optimal scenario where your health may suffer, and I'm talking about your mental as well as your physical health. Believe it or not. So this is something that we're going to investigate and talk about, and then we'll open it up to questions, your questions about all sorts of things. They may not be about choice. It might be about all sorts of things like, do I eat donuts or things like that, or whatever. We'll open it up, and you can ask as many questions as you like, time permitting, of course. So we'll talk about choice. Now, interestingly, a lot of Eastern philosophies believe that when we're miserable, that's a choice. You choose to be miserable, okay? Sometimes, however, if we flip that on its head, choice can be miserable. Now think about that. When would choice bring on misery? Well, I'm glad you asked, even though you didn't, sort of forcing the issue here a little bit. But there is choice. There is choice, of course. Have you ever purchased a pair of jeans? Have you ever been into I'm going to use names here. I'm not supporting, endorsing, or being paid for any of these particular companies. I'm just going to mention them, and you'll know immediately what I'm talking about. Have you ever purchased a pair of Levi jeans, or Lee jeans, for example, in the last 15 years? I would hope that you have. Tell me, what was that experience like? I'll wait. I'll just hydrate while you're thinking about this. Let me tell you, my experience was one where I almost ended up collapsing from exhaustion, collapsing from the choices that were available to me. I'm a guy that just wants to go into a store and purchase a pair of jeans, right? Just want to go into the shop and buy jeans, right? And I'm of that vintage where you could do that. You could walk into a large department store or a box store, as they call it in the States, and say, I need a pair of jeans. Those jeans look good. Do they fit? Yes, they do. Try them on in the fitting room. And if I was happy with how they looked, I would purchase and leave the building. That would be it. No. This, unfortunately, doesn't occur anymore. I mentioned the company Levi's, which I think is a wonderful company, of course. But there are all sorts of things that one needs to consider when purchasing jeans. Okay, just bear with me for a moment. Are they skinny jeans? Are they slim fit jeans? Are they straight jeans? Are they relaxed? Are they boot cut? I kind of know what skinny and slim means. I sort of know what taper means, and kind of straight means, and relaxed means, and boot cut means. But Levi's has produced this entire narrative now around jeans, where we select a skinny, a slim, a taper, a straight, a boot cut, a loose fit. Whatever happened to words like portly? I know I'm a walking, talking, living example of portly, but whatever happened to that? Will says the last pair of jeans he bought was years ago, Wrangler boot cut. Got them from a thrift store for $1. I love it. You see, Wrangler, there's another name I forgot to mention. Anyway, so if you go into I was in a Levi's store in San Francisco some years ago, and I almost had to be stretchered out. There were walls of jeans, walls and walls and walls of jeans everywhere. Of course, I'm in a Levi's store. What else do I expect? I didn't, however, expect this. We have the 501 original, the 501 93 straight, the skinny Tabor, the double X chino, the 510 skinny, the 511 skinny, the 512 slim taper, the 502 regular taper, the 551Z authentic. I'm not going to read the rest of the list. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Then we have jeans which have been bleached, which have been stonewashed, which have been distressed. There are distressed jeans, as well as distressed consumers, no doubt. No doubt. Perhaps I'm dating myself. Yes, I am dating myself because now I'm told that Portly and Husky are gone. Well, there you go. Now we have to go into these numbers. Mind you, 510 is these are all trademarked. 501, the numeral 501 now has been trademarked. And this is just part of the joy. This is part of the joy of what it is to go in and buy jeans. So once you've made up your mind that you want a skinny, a slim, a tapered, a boot cut, a straight, a relaxed, you then have to work out whether you want any of these particular combinations or permutations. I just want jeans. Okay, I just want them to look good. I just want them to fit. I don't really want them to stretch. I mean, they might. I'll find a way of stretching them, don't worry. But no. Now we're faced with all these combinations and permutations. And what should have been, I believe, a very simple exercise has now become incredibly difficult. And as Paul rightly says, there is decision fatigue. And this is the thing. The consumer, unless they know exactly what they want, and we'll talk about how it is that they know exactly what they want, it's overwhelming. Once you nail down the size and the fit and everything, it's fine. But getting to that process can be quite a harrowing experience. Now, you probably think I'm being frivolous and I'm making light of the fact. No, I'm not. This is a thing, right? This is a thing. If you go in and buy jeans, this is the sort of stuff from this particular company that you need to consider. And so if you approach any sort of decision in retail when you purchase something with having to consider, apart from price and whether something fits you, these sort of options are going to cause a lot of grief. So now we can see where this choice is misery thing comes from. We know that misery can be a choice. We can choose to be miserable or not. But sometimes choice produces misery, and behold, I have before you a shining example. I'm not here to bludgeon Levi's and Lee and Wrangler over the head, but this is just some of the things that people are subjected to on a daily basis. Now, enter Herbert A. Simon. This is a Nobel person that won the Nobel Prize for Economics, I believe, in 1978. He was an economist, a very interesting gentleman who decided and looked at how we make choices. Of course, one of the criticisms of economics is that economists assume that all human beings will make the right choice. They know what they're choosing. Things are fairly quantifiable. You put something in front of a customer, and if the price is right, they will buy it. It doesn't always work that way, really. But anyway, good old Herbie here came up with a very interesting concept. And this is a concept that I just want to discuss with you briefly, as I said, before we get on to questions. And he came up with a term called satisficing, which is an amalgam of sorts where we bring the word satisfy and suffice together. It's actually a decision-making strategy. And of course, in the world of economics and other academic pursuits, we kind of split people into two sort of groups. You're either a satisficer or you are a maximizer. Now, let me explain. What is a maximizer? A maximizer wants the absolute best. I want to purchase the best pair of jeans, or I want to purchase the best shirt. And what they'll do, what he or she will do, is they'll go into a department store, they'll look around, they'll find the shirt, they'll look at it, and they'll examine it, look at all that sort of thing, and then they'll take it and hide it somewhere. This happens. They'll hide it somewhere so as they can come back to it, because the journey has only just begun. They're now going to examine other fabrics, other shirts. Am I really getting the best possible shirt? Am I really getting the best bang for my buck? Is this really the best possible product that I can get? That's what a maximizer does, right? Now, of course, these are very, very broad strokes, but because we are all maximizers and satisficers, right? The satisficer will say, look, I'm satisfied that this shirt will do the job and it will suffice. I'll buy it and I'm out the door. Doesn't matter. It's fine. This will do. Thank you. I needed a white shirt. This fits. It's fine. I'm done. No problem. That's it. Decision has been made by the person that's gone in, more or less, I would imagine, on utilitarian grounds. In other words, this is useful to me. This is what I want now. I'm going to buy it. End of transaction. Done. The maximizer, however, if they decide to finally pull the trigger on the purchase and say, yes, I will buy this shirt, will then go home and agonize that they may not have bought the absolute top, bestest shirt. And then they'll start to dig around and do some research. After they've purchased, they've made the purchase. And then they'll go home and they'll keep at it. They'll keep looking at things. This is a phenomenon that occurs. This is a real thing, right? This is a real thing. They'll keep looking and keep searching. Did I really get the best possible shirt? Was I getting bang for my buck? And so it would not surprise you then, ladies and gentlemen, that these people, these maximizers, generally speaking, have a lower well-being, lower sense of satisfaction with their purchase, tend to have buyer's regret. We've all heard of this. You buy something, you get it, or you receive it in the mail or whatever, and then you think, yeah. Because they thought they were getting the best possible garment or product or service, and they just kept going. And this thing was festering within them. This is going to cause problems. This is going to cause problems. So wanting the best, there's nothing wrong with that per se. We all want quality products. As I say, we are all, to a lesser or greater extent, maximizers. But when we're driven entirely by that principle, we run into a bit of trouble. And then, as I say, the satisficer will say, look, I just needed a shirt. I went in there. This thing fits. I'm happy with the price. I'll buy it. That's it. And the whole ordeal ends there. There's no need to look any further. I'm happy with what I've bought. That's it. I don't need to keep going again. My question is, why do maximizers need to keep going with it? Well, there are a number of economic theorists that believe that this occurs, firstly, when we're faced with a plethora of choices, and secondly, and this is the more important thing, because there's nothing wrong with choice. I'm all for it. The second thing is that this horrific psychological phenomenon occurs where we look at comparison. Once you start to make comparisons with products, that's where you're going to get unstuck. There is no such thing as the perfect product. There's always going to be something that's not quite right. And so once you realize as a consumer in purchasing an experience or a product that I'm more than happy with what's going here, and I'm not really after the best in this particular, then all of a sudden the whole experience is nullified. This whole angst and oh my God, I don't know, did I really buy the best speakers? Was this really the best and the fastest phone? I mean, it's foolish to pursue that. It's true, as shaving with peg leg. I love that, shaving with peg leg. So they develop buyer's regret during the drive home. Absolutely, because they know. They wanted the best, but they know deep down. We all do. We all know. I won't say they. I have to include myself in that. We all know that it was the best possible thing at that sort of. So in other words, we are kind of satisficers in some way. In some way we are. And the maximizer is someone who it really is only setting themselves up for disappointment. This is why when people talk about products, oh, you've got to get this product, it's fantastic. This is why expectations are set so high, and they are almost always accompanied with either regret or a complete underwhelming feeling of, okay, meh. A little aside, I was reading an article recently that said Netflix is now not so cool. It's certainly not as cool as it used to be 18 months ago. Why? Well, because you can jump onto Netflix this evening and surf the options and choices for an hour and not find something to watch. This is the irony. There's so much content on Netflix. You can sit there and just go through all the options or whatever. You can spend an hour trying to decide what you want to watch on Netflix, and in the end up watching reruns of Seinfeld. Can't make up your mind. There's this analysis paralysis, right? And also, when you have so many products, as Netflix does on that service, they can't all be great, right? There are going to be some that will be meh, okay? This is just, it's the way things are. So it's a very interesting thing. Perhaps what I guess I'm asking and what I'm inviting us to do is to probably look at these things and say, look, wanting the best of this and the best of that is probably like, it's kind of a fool's paradise, really. It's not really going to happen, okay? So in some ways, and it certainly isn't going to bring anyone any happiness, because if it did, the whole ordeal would have ended there. Oh, look, I bought the best thing I ever could have, and it would have stopped there. Buy, sell, and trade groups are full of maximizers, full of them. Time to flip these, time to get rid of that, time to get rid of that. But at some point in time, when the purchase or the decision was made to buy that product, they thought they were doing the best possible thing, given all the information and the budget and everything else that they had before them. So it's an interesting thing. It's actually quite an interesting phenomenon. Is being a maximizer bad? Absolutely not. As I say, we all have the maximizer within us. We all want absolute quality and all the rest of it. Is being a satisfier a letdown? Are you actually settling? No, absolutely not. Because you're satisfied, by definition, you're satisfied with the purchase, and that purchase will suffice, and therefore you don't need to go through this existential angst. Oh my God, I haven't bought the best possible thing I could buy. Who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. That is a very, very important concept when it comes to shaving. Now, we have some comments here. I don't know whether I should be sidetracked by these just yet. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see how we go. We'll come back to them, though. We've favorited them there, so we'll definitely come back to those. Right. This is a book I recommend by Barry Schwartz. It's a little old now, but it's quite relevant. It's The Paradox of Choice, Why More is Less. I've talked about that extensively. When you've got too many things to choose from, you cannot choose. I'm not suggesting that we live in a world where there are only 4 items of any particular thing you're after, okay? A number of studies were conducted by several universities, and they did longitudinal studies on this, where they looked at the number of things which would suffice if you were a consumer. If you had 4 things in front of you, would you feel you're getting enough choice? No. If you had 44 things in front of you, that's too much choice. So 4 versus 44. And they found that somewhere around 25 might be about right, okay? Again, there are different user cases. Your mileage may vary and all the rest of it. But they found that when we're given too much choice, this can cause all sorts of difficulties and problems to our mental well-being. And I bring this up because some of us, again, are in lockdown and others are not. But these are things that might be playing on one's mind. So I guess it's kind of I don't know, I'm doing it might be a benevolent sort of thing. Maximizer versus satisfier. What are you? Who exactly are you? Are you a maximizer? Are you a satisfier? I'd like to know. You could leave a comment below, and we'll try and address these one by one as we can. I need to hydrate. So, I'm not saying that I prefer one over the other, but I am saying that these things can cause all sorts of problems for people. Okay? Quite often when you're wanting to maximize, you're not doing it in a vacuum. You're doing it because others are watching, others are there, you're part of a community, you're part of a group, and you want the others in the group to accept you for the purchase or the gear that you have or whatever it is. And this doesn't just relate to shaving, it's across the board, right? It's across the board. It doesn't just relate to shaving. But of course, we see it in shaving all the time. If I was to tell you the sorts of products that I sell daily in my business, it'd put you to sleep. It would tranquilize you. This is how boring it is. It would put you to sleep, right? Because you'd say, hang on, doesn't everyone want this particular soap ABC? Isn't this the latest and greatest? No, actually. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm staggered at the amount of times that we have to keep ordering Proraso. Staggered at the amount of times that people are asking, I'm going to say it, right? For Taylor of Old Bond Street. You got any Taylor of Old Bond Street? Got any Proraso? These people might be satisficers, but in a group they might appear to be just maximizers, and so they'll only show those particular groups. But if that stuff works for you, then good on you. It's great. I think it's fantastic. Let's not get caught up in this, though. And so I think that is really all I wanted to cover in terms of that. Please let us know what your thoughts are on that. Do you think there is a I don't want to use the word saturation because the market is what it is and it sorts things out. That's one of the things of economics. It's the invisible hand of the market. If you've got a product that people want and it's priced fairly, then the market will, through advertising or whatever the case may be, through word of mouth, they will discover that product and make the purchase. That's classic economic theory. But are you a person that agonizes over your purchases? Are you someone that wants to maximize? You want the absolute best. And when you take that product home, like Pegleg said, are there feelings of regret even before you get home? Or after you've opened the box and the initial adrenaline rush of opening something that's been sent to you in the mail, and you think, oh, this is great, it's here, it's wonderful, but it's sort of underwhelmed. I'm a little bit underwhelmed. I don't know. Not really doing it for me. Let me know. Let's look at some of these comments here. Who have we got? Michael. Now, what's Michael said? We got ours before the summer, and then my mother would spray us down with a hose. We wore them until they dried and shrunk to fit. Then we were Smurf blue from the waist down for a few weeks. Yeah, see, there you go. Exactly. So I take it that you haven't been into the latest and greatest 501 or Levi store, Michael. It's quite an experience, I have to say. And it's interesting because this is how, if you ask the sales assistant there or the associate, as they're called in the United States, if you ask them for any sale, they'll come up to you, oh, can I help you? Yes, I'm after a pair of jeans. Well, choices everywhere. Hello, Mark from Dallas. Nice to have you on the live. Thank you, sir. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. And I really like the fact that we're getting a lot more of our friends from the United States. Clearly, it's a more approachable hour. We can't keep doing it at this time. Obviously, we're normally 3 hours later. Too many things to choose from. Sounds like shave soaps. Yeah. Well, it could be. It could be. And a lot of shave soaps. It happens with razors too. People just get, they just think, oh, this was going to be the latest and greatest. It didn't quite make it. And yes, who else do we have here? Yep. I really feel like I should own the rights to shaving with Pegleg. Maybe, Tom. Yes. You could actually buy the, why don't you buy the domain, Shaving with Pegleg? There you go. See if there's that creates a bit of excitement. Shaving with Pegleg. Any other comments there? Paul, I think, has got a comment for us. I think marketing plays a part in this. Hyping up the best product ever can only make maximizers more miserable. Absolutely. And this is what they found. This is what the literature has suggested as well. That if you seek the best, I want the best, you'll only end up making yourself upset. Okay. So I guess it's an invitation to think about how we approach things. there's negative press on buying things that will suffice. In other words, you've just settled for something. No, there are actually utilitarian grounds, as I said. If it's useful and it works for you, there's nothing wrong with doing that. That will satisfy you, and that is something that I think really should be the driving force in that instance. Get the best possible thing you can, absolutely, but don't expect it to be the best in the world, for example, because that is a nonsense. It's a fallacy. Who have we got here? Marketing Pictures. Is it Andrew? Is it Andrew there? Yes, let's have a look at that one there. Marketing Pictures send the same fastball to the entire opposing team of 9, and you'll hear 9 different tales of the baseball they've faced. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I have to agree with you, Andrew. So, look, it's definitely Simpsons Chubby 1, 2 or 3 have been the Parasso and Tobbs of the hardware lot. Yeah, I agree with that as well. The old Chubby 1, 2 and 3. Lather hogs. I have a 1, 2 and 3 and haven't used them for 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 years. I don't know. Hi, Elias. Yasu, nice to see you on the live. You should be practicing your bass. Scott, hi Scott. Thanks for joining the live. It's really nice to have you on here. I really appreciate you taking some time to join us. Let's have a look at, are you planning to attend the Big Shave? Mark, yes. Oh, I would love to. The Big Shave for me was it was an incredible time. I remember the very, very first one. And I just met these people that I'd only seen online, these virtual friends, and it was such an honour to meet these people and to be amongst them and to even have dinner with them, and not only talk shave. Look, it was all about, this whole thing is about relationships and connecting with people, and the Big Shave was the best possible way that we could do that. I think it was the 2014 and 15 one that I attended. Then it became Southwest, which is what you're referring to now. I would love to. Look, I don't know. Travel at the moment, particularly out of Australia and then coming back into it, is particularly difficult. So I certainly want to come. I really do want to make an appearance at one of these things again, because I think it would be wonderful to catch up with all of you. Because I made some really, really good friends, and actually had some decent coffee there too, which was incredible. In fact, coffee in America has improved enormously. I mean, sorry, espresso coffee. I'm not talking about the bottomless cup style, the sort of the what do they call it, the diner style one where they keep filling your cup. I'm talking about espresso. It's really good stuff, and I'm very impressed with it. So the short answer is, I wish. I don't know that I'll be able to make this one, but hopefully if there's another one after that, hopefully when everything opens up, we'll definitely be able to do that. Who have we got here? Oaken. Is Oaken Lab on here as well? I believe that's Chris Kerrigan. Hi, Oaken. Hi, Chris. I'm assuming it's Chris. Look, I've got to say, I shaved with some plein air again today, and oh my goodness, beautiful stuff. Please try this if you haven't, guys. You don't have to buy it from me. Just get your hands on it. It's really, really good stuff. And I have to say, in terms of its performance and in terms of loading, throw water at it. I've got quite soft water and things lather up very easily, but this thing just took water like it was just incredible. Really, really, really loved it. And the scents are very, very sophisticated scents, okay? They're not scents that you can smell from blocks away, but I don't think that necessarily makes the soap. I just find them really, really nice. And loading it, this thing, I've never, okay, here's one thing. With the exception of probably Ariana and Evans, I haven't seen a peak inside the bowl. While I'm loading this thing and pull the brush away, it created that peak that everyone talks about, peaks on. So this is with Oaken Lab. So V3 is for me. I love it. I really love it. Thank you for what you've done with Oaken Lab. The aesthetic is on point. The product is on point. Chris takes a lot of pride in what he and his team do, and his lovely family. follow them give them a follow on Instagram, and just see some of the beautiful things they're doing some wonderful things over there with exhibitions, pop-ups, and all sorts of things. But I also have to say, I know that they're also experiencing a spike in COVID at the moment. So I hope that everyone there is safe. So thanks for joining in. Hi, Chris. Yes, it is you. Good. Eric, the pleasure was all mine. Yes. Big Shave West too. Oh my goodness, I remember that. I really, really remember. See, and these are friendships. These are friendships that were forged all those years ago. But we're now living in a slightly different world, unfortunately. I hope when things open up that we'll be able to see each other again in person, because that would be an absolute honour. So what else have we got? Yes, let's have a look at that. Shaving with Peg Leg has a comment. He says, unless he's missing both legs and walking on prosthetics, I own the name. He kind of is missing both legs, and his nickname is Hooky. So I'll just leave it there. Yes, I don't know, Mr. Shaving with Peg Leg. Maybe I'll link down to some of Tom's content below, and you'll see for yourself. He's been through quite an ordeal. Even when he visited me, that was quite an ordeal as well. Fragrance enthusiast. Yes, do you bowl or face lather, and why? Also, what is your favourite type of brush? Yes, I generally face lather. So where we're living is in the mountains, and probably about 1 kilometre above sea level, so it gets pretty cold here. The only time I will bowl lather, if I'm going to bowl lather, is in the winter months. That's when I really enjoy it. But 9 times out of 10, I face lather. I bowl lather a lot in store to demonstrate, because obviously I'm not going to lather my face here, so I do a lot of bowl lather demonstrations here. And for obvious reasons, apart from the fact that I don't want to end up with lather all over my face, I can show the consistency to people that are interested in how we create and generate a lather. By using it on my face, there's an immediacy there. I can get a feeling for what I'm doing. But there is also an enormous amount of satisfaction in lathering in a bowl. For me, it adds another step, obviously, not of complexity, just another step to my routine. And there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes I just need to shave and be out the door. So predominantly face latherer. In fact, it's probably even more than 9 times out of 10, if that's possible, maybe 9.5 times, as opposed to sort of rather than bowl lathering. I started off not shaving with anything other than silver tip badgers and boar. I loved boar brushes, absolutely adored them. The way they would soften up and bloom, they were really, really, really good. I don't reach for boar much now. No reason. There's no specific reason why I won't pick up a boar brush. Perhaps I don't want to be a boar. No pun, no more dad jokes, enough. Now I'm finding that I reach for a synthetic brush, again, because it dries quicker. Synthetics have come a long way. The synthetics of 5 years ago, compared to what's happening now, they've come a long, long way. And I'm not talking about colours, these silly colours they put through them, like, pink tips and whatever. I know you might have pink tip brushes or whatever. Anyway, yes. But I'm talking about the actual components of the fibre itself. There's a process where they micro crimp the fibre, because one of the big problems, of course, with synthetic brushes was that they didn't hold any water. This would, of course, then mean that you weren't able to get a luxurious and a fulfilling lather. That has changed as materials have changed and as the market has grown. So that's driven that whole thing. So this morning I reached for a synthetic brush when I shaved with my Oaken Lab Plain Air soap and whipped up a storm. I've also shaved with a silver tip with Oaken and found it to be great, but I even needed more water for that. I don't know, for some reason it just fantastic. So synthetic, then sort of a badger. Look, you know what? Now that this is what happens. I mention something and then I go back and do it. I think, yeah. So I'm actually going to shave with a ball brush next because they've split beautifully and they do very well. Are you a ball brush latherer? Let us know in the comments below. Who else? What do we have here? Pegley. I think maybe Tom is gone. Maybe he's not here. Anyway, if he is, that's fine. So who we got? A&E Barrister Man. Yes. Oak and Lab, my favourites. Yes. Look, really good stuff. You can't go wrong with these products. They're all very, very good, and they all do an amazing job. Andrew, we've got a comment here from Andrew. What does Andrew have to say? Met you at Big Shavers 2 and 3. Con's deadpan facial expressions are priceless. Thank you, Andrew. That's very kind of you. You're going to make me do a deadpan expression now, aren't you? No, I can't. I won't do it. It's done. Boysenberry Dracula, how long does it take to use a puck of Cella or Parasso if used daily? Interesting question. Look, if used daily, based on when I load my soaps, I do a 40-second load, right? And of course, the only variable is the brush, of course, and how much water is in it. But if I'm going to use, let's say, a synthetic brush on some Parasso, and I used it every single day, did not miss a day, look, I would have to say you would start to see the bottom within 3 to 4 months, the way I load up a brush, okay? Because there are some people who just go, and that's loaded for them. So for them, it could be 3 years. But if you're based on a 40-second load, I would say 4 months before you start to see the bottom. You get that traditional donutting scenario. It could be more. Now, what are the other variables? The other variables, believe it or not, is also, I mentioned to you that I'm in sort of in a semi-alpine region, so the soap is always kind of, it's kind of harder. If you're living in the tropics and your soap is soft and mushy, then you'll probably, I would imagine, go through it a lot quicker. Also, I mean, do you put water in it? Do you bloom it? All this sort of stuff. There are other variables. But I would say if you were using it every single day, and remember that even though it looks like you've gone through a lot of the product, you could still get a brush in there and swirl it around and you're still picking up product. So to be absolutely squeaky clean, maybe 6 months. I don't know. It's an interesting one. Maybe we should try that, like the IKEA thing where they open and close a cabinet door and see how many thousands of times we can do that. I don't know. Anyway, it's an interesting, yes. Smoke ball brush, yes, absolutely. Smoke owners, look, the ball brushes are, they have their fans and these people swear by them and I can see why. I love ball brushes. Okay, there's a breaking in period. Sometimes they stink. In fact, they almost always stink initially. But through use, of course, that will dissipate, as you would expect, and you get these fine little split ends, and that will soften up beautifully. Nothing wrong with a ball brush. In fact, it's a really good, in terms of price point, performance, and feeling, I don't know that you can beat a ball brush. Now, people will say, oh, but synthetics are great. Yes, synthetics are great. Badger hair is great. Look, there are a large number of companies that are transitioning away from badger hair, be it a good or bad thing. That's a discussion for another time, because they're more trouble than they're worth, and because certain decisions have been made by these companies to transition more to a cruelty-free thing for whatever reason. Again, don't really want to get into the politics of that. But they are transitioning, but not making the announcements. They're not making these pronouncements. They're not jumping up on a soapbox and saying, we're getting rid of all animal hair brushes. We are now only going to be dealing with synthetic fibre brushes. But you'll find increasingly that is what's happening for whatever reason. And there are good reasons too, I have to say. So yes. Yeah, Eric, remember when the Plisson, oh my goodness, the craze. The Plisson, you're going to like this, Eric, you're going to love this story. When the Plisson was being sold in L'Occitane stores, yes, L'Occitane, not L'Occitane, L'Occitane stores in the United States, I believed you could pick one up for about $25. Let me know. Do you remember, if anyone remembers? Anyway, they were no more than $40. They were being sold in Australia for $100. This is for a Plisson. $100 were being ripped off. And people would piff them and send them to others all over the world. It was the thing. And then the Plissoft came out of that and all the rest of it. And as soon as that happened, L'Occitane dropped them. We're not doing this anymore. We're not doing this anymore because our manufacturers in China have now selling this to every man in his canine. You could find them anywhere. And so they decided to move away or transition amongst other things. But yes, the Plisson was the thing. If you had a Plisson, it was it. It was a good brush. A bit floppy for mine. I just found that it was a bit too, it was like shaving with a makeup brush, a kabuki brush, whatever. That was a craze as well, and you'd remember that as well. So who have we got here? Yes, Boys and Miracular, thank you. New to DE shaving. Welcome, sir. This is helpful. Got an R141%. Excellent. You've got two beautiful razors there. Wonderful, wonderful. The R41, more on the aggressive side, the efficient side. Stick with it. I think it's a wonderful product. And of course, the 34G. What can I say? You can't beat it. $30. What are we saying? 30 USD. I want to say they were 40 to 45. Yeah, I think they're about $40, whatever. But they were 100 here. And schmucks went out and bought them. People were buying them like they were, for $100. I'm not saying that you're a schmuck if you had one. I'm saying that, yes. So what have we got here? Who have we got? John Boyd said, I gave 30 USD. Yeah. Look, I think $30. I think they're about 30. Well, I may have seen them for 40 in Vegas, but hey, when you're in Vegas, what do you expect? Who else have we got here? Stephen Carter. Good day. Do you find a bottle of splash lasts the same amount of uses as a tub of soap? I'm yet to get near the bottom of either. Yep. They both last. Obviously, if you're going to use the splash liberally, then you're obviously going to get through it a lot more. I generally, what I do is I just put a few splashes on and I apply the aftershave, then I leave it and I go back again. So I do a second. I always do two applications. Get a towel, just let it sort of dry off or evaporate if it's an alcohol-based one. Oaken does a good one too. Oaken's a good one. Actually, there's a bit of menthol in the one that I'm using, and it's just. But yes, I'm yet to finish anything really, Stephen. So I'm probably the worst person to ask. I don't think there are enough shaves in life to be able to get to the bottom of anything. I've got a bottle of tobacco aftershave, and I can't get rid of it. I know the tobacco jokes will start now, I know. But it just keep going. It just keeps going. And I know that there's some in there, more comes out, and I think, oh my God, when am I ever going to get through this bottle of tobacco? Chris, they are sincere words. I'm not just saying it. I think, so I'm going to embarrass Chris now. What Chris has done is he has listened and taken note of the things of people that he's taken counsel from, who've said, look, Chris, maybe you look at the formulation, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And he's married that beautifully with his incredible aesthetic and this sort of meticulous eye for detail, and has brought a product to market which I think has been fantastic. So it's all well deserved. I think you've done a fantastic job, as have the boys at West Coast Shaving who who have taken on Oaken Lab. They're really, really good guys there. Yeah, love those boys. Steve Carter aids in the stuff he told me. Oh, I thought you were just coming and going there, David. Still hanging around, are we? Still here? I thought it was just high and by. You thought I didn't see that comment, did you? Anyway. Yes, he probably does bathe in it, but hey, it is what it is. Any other comments, or are we done there? What have we got? I try and get through as many of them as possible, and it's again, I'm mindful of the fact that this thing, I don't want these lives to go on and on and on and on and on. But we'll take this comment on the ASD2. Many years ago, I did a review of the ASD2, and people were rather critical of me because I said, because I didn't tell them how mild it was. But here we have, first razor was the Feather ASD2. I couldn't find the angle and got razor burn. And they got the R42 and put the Feather handle on it. Okay. So a lot of this that goes on where we take a handle from one and put it on the other, the sort of Frankenstein, the Dr. Frankenstein thing. And if it works for you, that's fine. Someone had asked me about what I thought of the ASD2. I think it's a great razor, but I don't think you should use it with anything other than a feather blade, my opinion, because the feather blade, being as sharp as it is, needs to be put into that very mild and gentle razor. But if it's so mild that you feel you're not getting any cut through, irritation will occur. So this is the paradox. You use a mild razor that can cause irritation because you think it's not taking off the whiskers effectively and efficiently. Next thing you know, you end up with irritation. My throat is irritated, so I have to have some water. Folks, what can I say? Again, it's been an honour and a pleasure to have you join us on this live, on this rather earlier than usual live. I mean, as I say, normally we're here at 6:05, but this is a live, the dirty 3:30 local time. Yes, Stephen, tobacco's that good I could drink it. Have you been drinking it though, Stephen? Have you been drinking it? Because some of these comments. No, I don't think I'll be putting up Aristides' comment. I'm not going to be putting up those comments. You bad boy, you. Anyway, I hope you're well, Aristides. Nice to have you join the live, even though you were about to throw a hand grenade into the live. So what I do is I can see comments coming on here, and we'll just try and put them on. Oaken Lab is a full experience. Performance and presentation are exquisite. Absolutely. Look, yes, just yes. Really, really good. Thumbs up. From me, it gets the thumbs up. And I love it even more because you're dealing with some really, really good people there. It's time to go, folks. Thank you for joining this live. I really appreciate it. I don't want to keep going on and on about it, but it really means a lot to me. Makes what we do here a lot of fun. Thank you, and we'll catch you in the next live.